Okay, let's have a look at this game that I am not, I haven't finished yet, but I'm probably going to lose because I'm blundered badly, so not that is make a difference. Okay, let's flip. Okay, now I wait, yes, and I'm playing against a Sicilian, pretty standard one, the Najdorf, I think. Now here I play f3. Now this is not is a playable, is a good, but of course that was not the most frequent move. Now even f4 is more frequent. So I don't know, just what is actually the 50%. Well, it doesn't. That's right. This is not the most common move. Yeah. Now what is it? Wait a second. Okay, wait. Let's see. I don't remember how to make comments. Yes. Okay. This is not the most common move. B3, BG5, and 4 are more often played. Did I forget anyone? And bishop G4, bishop E2. Now it's all there are variants that are all very theoretic, and I would like. Well, now A5 is the most common response. Now NB3. Well, is not probably not the E6, and now this is BG5 is here a move that's not considered good, not the most often played. In general, is not strong. Don't ask me why. Probably because strategically it doesn't make any sense. It's well, okay. Well, just we'll just use the opportunity to win this variant here because it's probably there are a lot of visits and it would be a waste not to. Okay, I'll not spend more time here. B E3. Well, the results are poor, so just consider B E3 is the most often move here. Now you can go bishop E7, queen D2, short castle, long castle, yes, and BD7, G4, yes, and now you have a very G5, B4. Now that's interesting. Knight E2, knight E8, F4, E5, F5. Oh no, that's a completely. That's a very okay. Now that's interesting. This is all theory. And it's still also always kind of equal. There are so many ways you can deviate here. Wow, it's just fascinating. Okay, but it's not. Okay, right. One possible continuation is, well, okay. Now, of course, as a would deserve an analysis in itself. I'm recording, yes. Okay, but let's go to bg5 and try to see why it is a bad. Bishop e7 and with t2. Well, now castle. Now bishop e2 just is giving me. Now is the best variant is castle long. Not bishop e2 is not really. Now it gives me already a. Well, of course, because it's not really a good place. It's not not a great place for the bishop. So I put it there. It's better not to move it at all if you don't know, if you don't put it in a bad square. But okay, so probably, let's see. It's marginally better. Longer castle here is marginally better. Not, but yeah, and I think his position is only generally something that I have to remember, and I don't often do because I like to leave dangerously if is putting the king on b1. Yeah, because of course when the rook is going on c8, and then it's better not to have the king on that column. Well, it's equal. Well, after bishop e2, what happened? Knight b7, and then castle long. It's no brainer as we pushing. Now, of course, I also want to attack. Now this position has been reached about 100 times, which is not that uncommon position. Now it's interesting that the first choice of the engine is a3. Yeah, a3. And then b4 isn't good because a b4, and is actually a3 is actually a good prophylactic move because before, well, I don't know if I would be, well, if I black, I would say what. No, what if I play something like a5? Does it? Well, it's just these things that I don't know if really open up that column. Is white okay? I guess so. I don't know. Bishop b5, and is there not? Is it okay opening? Because generally you would only. That's a problem in chess. Usually, I analyze the game where you could sacrifice his pawn to open up the position, and now what happened? Oh, sorry, what happened after rook b8? Well, nothing. Actually, you can, the you can, I have such active pieces that I don't care if columns are open. And that's okay. That's a reason because I have to, because I bishop b3 is coming, and then cd3. Well, and then well, I don't spend too much on this variant because it's what how the game went. But of course, it's better to know that better is to who, and then this is a question mark, saying let's say that's good for white on a3. Now the suggestion, well, that's the rc8. Then it's a no-brainer putting the king b1, h6. That also things makes a lot of sense. It's not very different. And bishop e3. And white is somewhat, black seems to be somewhat better. Okay. Well, let's say white, black is better, somewhat better. And then it will be knight b6, bishop b6, queen b6. Because knight b6 would be planning to jump on c4. That would be awkward for white. Okay, but I played h4. h4 is not the best move, probably. And the engine proposes for black b4. That will be give some problem, I guess, b4. Because I don't know what to do with the knight, of course. Knight d5, bishop d5, e d5, and then a5, king b1, a4, then of course, then knight goes c1, and black is a pretty strong attack. Annoying even. Let's see, knight b5, b d5, a d5, a5, king b1, a4, knight c1. That is the variant. No, rook b8 and queen a5. Yeah, I would also prefer to be black here. Definitely. Okay, but g4, and then there comes b4. Now, of course, the engine seems to prefer queen c7. Yeah, okay, we'll see what is happening with that. Okay, then queen d1. It's not very impressive, but what is before bed? Well, there's not much different. But let's say that it's not worth trouble to investigate this variant. Let's go to and a4. That is a mistake. Okay, then so I just it seems a good idea for me, but the engines, and that's the interesting fact. That's give me after that lost position. So N A4 is a bad move. Well, of course, if I would examine the game the way it should be done, that is without using the engine, I would have should have found, yeah, should have considered here after and before. That would be ND5. Yes, that would be the variant. That one should be. It would be bishop d5, ed5. Well, that will be go pretty much the same as a5. Now there's some difference because I can put the bishop on b5 and prevent h4. Now that wasn't possible in the other position, and why? Okay, let's bishop d5, a d5, h5, bishop d5. Okay, and why not? Why this is not so good? Well, it is also a possibility here. It doesn't actually make a lot of difference. Well, okay, there's a difference because there's a rook on a8. There's a hint here. No, because the rook has a. Okay. Now it's worth nothing. Well, it's pretty obvious. This works because the rook is in c8. Okay, and after that, yeah, okay. Now we can go back to r8 to threaten a4. That put a8, key b1, a4, knight c1, and then the game goes as the other variant. Analyze the b4. Okay, then it's not. It's equal here. Well, equal. This says me equal. Don't know about interesting attack that's going on here. A3, B3. Yeah. What about B3? Yeah. What about B3 instead? Oh. Okay. Now I win a pawn for nothing. C3, B3, A3. Oh, I don't know. What happens? B3, B3. That's just in B3. What? Now this is again a situation where we say, do you trust the engine to give to say that you should go into a position that would be very complicated to play? Okay, then it's the attack of black has not that such an easy attack as it looks. I don't know. I was what if you go bishop c6. Well, it's not easy to follow. It doesn't actually. What about this one? C5, queen c5. But of course that way. You have to. queen a6. So actually it advises queen a6, bishop a8, rook a8, d3, rook b8, queen c2. That is such a weird variant. Yeah, okay, but okay. So b3 is not okay, does not work. Okay, now let's pretend to be someone who actually knows what he's doing and write this comment. Now instead that is be a3. What is proposed, what the engine likes, b3, e4. It's a knight e3. Okay, b3. Okay, let's adjust. That's an interesting attack that I have here, but black is not. Let's say it doesn't have a force to win. a4, bishop c6. Ah, okay, that goes there. Rook b8, a3. Ah, okay, that just free for the knight. Okay, that's interesting. You could ask me, I would be interested, why not this one? Okay, now these are the things that you need to be active. So it's just you take now those knight c5, and now it's actually some kind of advantage. Well, so much is going on in this position. A knight there, and then it's a probably this defend. Wow, that's well over my head. So just probably not even try. b3 is c3, b. Okay, before nc5 or h3, f3. I don't know what it's like. You know what I. Okay, it goes nc5, and now I'll mark it as unclear. Yes, it's totally unclear to me what's happening here. Whatever. Now let's pretend to be delta raised 95. Now after 94, it doesn't play the strongest move because c7, 6, qc7, and the threat is possibly going to queen c6. Bishop b3, rook b8. Okay, that's totally unclear now. That is an unclear position if there ever was one. Bishop 6, knight f6. Okay, let's see what you suggest. And now bishop d3, rook b8. Knight a1, rook f8. Fine, b3. No, I know idea. Why does it even? Okay. b3, rook b8, and why now knight a1? What is supposed to be? Why don't I why don't I just go forward with this? Okay, we have queen c6. Yeah. The threat is queen c6, of course, but why don't I just go queen c6 here? Ah, because of this, yeah. Now, why this and not with this? Well, but because it will be mate, yes. Aimed against. What is it? Aimed against. Okay, let's go. Protects c2. Okay, let's just equal protects d4 and threatens queen c6. Oh, that one at a1. Now why not play? Okay, because n1 allows b3. Oh, that's fascinating. Allows b3. Still, I don't know why he give me the rook fd8, queen e1. Yeah. Well, I look at it, I don't see. Rook f8, queen a1, d5, g5, knight. Well, okay. Now that's a really. Now of course g5, knight a5, but what about h5? Or does it come too late? What about h5? d e4, d a4, and what bishop g4? And what if just so what is right d1, d1, what happens now? Right, f4, f4, what's happening? Bishop b7, okay, can't I just protect it? Bishop e4, take, b3, okay, knight e4, okay, bishop, wow, really, this game is too complicated. Chess is more complicated, even more complicated than women, probably. Well, no, let's not exaggerate. So let's pretend to be as smart as here. And write a comment. With a strong initiative. For instance. Yeah. Wins. Okay. This is somewhat better. Okay, but not what the black played in the game. The game he played bishop b3, which is actually a mistake. Wow, that is interesting. ab3, h6, even worse. Now, which I answer, just should go back. Well, now that I see it, I say why didn't do this? Because just h6 is just horrible. It just creates a hook for my pawns for a pawn break. Now knight c5, whatever, knight c5, knight c5. But then g5 is coming. knight c5, whatever, knight c5, d5. Now g5 is coming sooner or later. Okay, I can go queen e1, queen c7, queen a5, king b1 to prevent the check, of course. Okay, that's the variant queen, queen, and does it now come? That is the now a c. Or bc4 is even as strong, probably put in the best position, just because there is no way we can stop the break. Okay, but I think I'll interrupt the analysis for the time being. Okay, not the care because it will be a long video. Be right back. Okay, let's continue the analysis. We were here in this position. So yes, so this after h5, the good should not be e3 and c5. We show that the best variant is bishop, back bishop e3, because hc opens out opportunity, pushing g5, knight c5, knight c5, then that would be knight takes c5, dc5, then queen e1 exactly, and queen c7. That would be the variant we are analyzing. Yes, g5. Okay, and then of course let's g5. That would be g5, knight h5, g6, g6, and bishop. Okay, let's for of course knight c5, knight c5, c5, queen e1. Okay, queen c7, and then of course prevent g5, pushing me at g5 maybe not immediately best strategy. Bishop c4, rook cd8. Okay, now okay, let's see, bishop c4. Okay, now that okay, let's see. Okay, let's follow this variant. Rook cd8, rook per d8, rook per d8. Okay, building one. Okay, there are several ways to push the attack. I think g5 is also okay, but what about g5? Is g5 better? Oh, I think it doesn't make a lot of difference. G5, g5, g6, g6. That's also a reasonable variant. I say equivalent. Okay, now it's a result. The calculation. G5, g5, g6, g6, and then we put a lot of pressure with bc4, queen g1. It's of course it's not the attack is actually going on, so it's still not it's not Ah, okay, now of course, then the queen g1 and then bishop c4. But paint depends because you have to play this sequence all anyway. You have to play this move anyway to finish the attack. So no, just never cd8, rd8, rd8, and queen g1, and then rook d6, bishop c5. Yeah, why that is the queen isn't there to take? That sounds a very pretty variant to me. Rook g8, rook d8, rook d8, and then rook g1, queen d6. Actually, still very strong attack, but not not a sudden win. Queen c6. Queen 6, queen e2. Well, the engines nowadays. Well, that's interesting. Well, I don't know. That anyway, it seems much better than the variant I could analyze. Let's say with initiative. Okay, what happens after this? Bishop d4, r8, rd8, rd8, queen g1, fn g1. Okay, that's so. Just say promote variation and say that is equivalent. Rook d8, queen g1, and then oh well. Look. Yeah. Rook d8, queen g1, f8, g5, and g5. Well, I think that would be the rook d8, queen g1. Let's see if it still like this. Yeah, okay. Got g1, f8, and then okay, and I say it's initiative. Okay, whatever. Okay, let's put a question mark here. Should be after gh5, that's just okay, that will be the move. Yes, gh5 and queen h5 h6, knight g5 g5, h8, and then that is still well, somehow it still gives an advantage to white. h5 g5, and then this move is bad. No? So what? What is bad? Ng5 is a move that loses. I would lose if I wasn't stupid enough to take, because king b1. Now that's totally interesting. As I happy I analyzed this. I'm happy I analyzed. I'm actually recording. Yes, I'm recording. Funny. I'm happy I analyzed this game because it's actually something that I totally missed. Yeah, while playing it. Fact, king b1. King b1. Now what? Now it is impossible for black to avoid mate, it seems. Knight h7, rook dg1, b, and then it's over. And yes, there's no way black can avoid mate. Now that is so ridiculous. Okay, let's put a double question mark to two. Now nothing. What is wrong about g5? Now there are a lot of moves here. Okay, now of course, well, as already analyzed, knight b6 would be here. And we can run nb6, queen b6, king b1. King b1 is actually well. It's still a strong attack by white. I say that's unclear. Well, I'll mark it as unclear as because I don't actually have a clue what's happening here and who's going to win. This c4. Ah, rook c4. g6. F per g6, red g1. Bishop. No, that's incredibly complicated position. The bishop there is too strong. Black has to take it. Well, can't you just go there? Wow. No, that is an incredible move. So bishop e6, take, g6, and it's over. Wow. Just wow. It's just after bishop e6. Yeah, okay. No, bishop e6 must be prevented at all cost because then, of course, then bishop c4. Then we know rook c4. And he goes rook c4. And he also gets g6, g6, rook to g1, at f6, rook g6, rook g6, queen g6, king f8, okay. Queen x6, king h, bc4. Now that's a, wow. Seeing and believing. Queen g6, f g6, rook bg1, rook so we actually have is it worth the trouble? Okay, remember that I am a pissed all the time. Because that sacrifice, but in this position, black is a piece up because I have, so it's just not cannot take the quality and go home. So it's just if I just here. if I just here take this, let's see, for b3, g6, right? Bishop c2, queen c2, fg6, queen g6. Well, it also kind intriguing, but it's not nearly as good as. Now it gives. Actually, now this gives a very interesting conclusion. G4. Now what's happening? Okay. Okay, we know that knight g5 was a horrible move that would allow to win if you just play queen b1 and avoid the check. And this is also horrible because now I lose the queen. Simple as that. Well, that's an interesting game. Well, now the game is still going on, but it's, of course, quality in the end. Take. But it's funny that it's funny that in the end, black cannot avoid to lose the queen, but it's still a quality up. So it's just it's a one game for black anyway. Okay, that finishes the analysis of this game. Well, where again I show that I don't know how to play the Sicilian as white, but maybe next time it will go better. So thank you.